You know, I do things a little differently here. I do things a little differently on my radio show and other platforms, and that's this. I don't just comment, I don't just observe. I get dirt under my fingernails. What do I mean by that? I'm an activist, and I'm mission-oriented. I'm an activist and I'm mission-oriented. 8 months ago, before the release of American Marxism, I got on the radio and here, and I made it clear that we had to build a movement. We had to build a movement to confront these various aspects of American Marxism. Critical race theory and the destruction of our classrooms. The degrowth movement under the rubric of climate change and the war on capitalism. This transgender movement and so forth. That these were destroying our country. We looked at other issues too, of course. Open borders and the attack on separation of powers, on the independence of the courts, and on and on and on. This is the modern-day Democrat Party. It is the model through which American Marxism represents itself. And you can see the media today. The media today celebrate, defend, and promote these various movements. Critical race theory. First they deny it exists, and then they say, what, are you scared of it? Why cancel it? Same with the degrowth movement, the war on capitalism, and on and on and on. And so we have people, politicians in Washington, we have hosts on radio and TV are trying to figure out what happened this week in the election. Well, what happened was this. A movement was building very, very quietly under the radar. Millions and millions of people were involved. Millions of people who read American Marxism, who listen to talk radio. Millions of people who've had enough of what's going on in Washington and the personal effect it has on them, whether it's inflation, the price of groceries, the price of gasoline, and this talk about fundamentally transitioning our economic system to something else, and this talk about white racism and white supremacy day in and day out. People are sick and tired of the whole thing. Now, there were two things that could have happened. We could have rolled over. We could have rolled over it. Been in a fetal position and let that happen, or fight back and push back. 8 months ago, it seemed that many of us were prepared to surrender. Many of us were, woe is me. Many of us didn't know what to do. But we galvanized and we rallied. This is something we talked about on the show day in and day out. It's something I've talked about on radio day in and day out. Even if we have certain differences among us, those of us who love this country, those of us who believe in its founding, those of us who believe in the Declaration of Independence and unalienable rights, those of us who believe in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, we had to come together. We had to unite despite our differences, despite if we're in one party or another or no party, to push back against these American Marxist movements that have been leaching into our kids' schools, leaching into the media, leaching into the public square, or they were going to defeat us. That we had to claw our way back, one election at a time, one battle at a time, one school system at a time. That's what happened last week. That's what happened last week. And I might add, with no help from Washington, D.C. and the establishment. This is a grassroots movement. Grassroots movement. The Reagan Revolution was a grassroots movement opposed by the Republican establishment. It took Reagan 3 times before he became the nominee and one of the most successful presidents in American history. The rise of the Tea Party movement. When I wrote the book Liberty and Tyranny, they came out simultaneously. The Tea Party movement, which gave a majority to the House Republicans, almost took over the Senate as well, and was opposed and fought by the Republican establishment and their surrogates in the media. The Trump Revolution, which completely changed our politics, still opposed by establishment Republicans and the so-called never-Trumpers and so forth. Now we have this movement. You and I, we are part of this movement. We're not just observers. We're not just commentators looking back 2020 over our shoulder to, well, what happened last week? We know what happened last week. We were personally involved in it. What happened last week is simple. We are not going to allow this country to fall to these American Marxist movements. Why do I call them American Marxist movements? Because they're founders, they're scholars, they're pseudo-intellectuals, they're advocates, they're activists. They call it Marxist movements. We saw what happened 2 summers ago in our streets to our cities. We saw what they did to our police forces from sea to shining sea. We saw how they tried to overturn this country, turn it inside out, turn it into a country we would not even recognize, destroying it from within. And when we had an opportunity to push back, we pushed back. We pushed back on our school systems. We're pushing back with this monstrous bill that Biden, Pelosi, and Schumer want to push through that will fundamentally alter our government and our economic system. We are pushing back, and we must continue to push back. These American Marxists, they're awake 24/7 trying to figure out how to sabotage this nation. We have to continue to be resolute. Fantastic election night the other night. From Virginia, New Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, Texas, Colorado, Kansas, throughout the country, school boards, local sheriff's elections, big victories. But they're just victories last week. We need to build on this. We need to go on offense. We need to put them on their heels. They need to respond to us. Have you seen the media? The media have now turned on, quote unquote, white women in the suburbs. 2 elections ago, they couldn't slobber over them enough because they were voting for Biden, they thought. Well, now, in Virginia and in New Jersey, they didn't. They voted against the Democrats in order to protect their children, their flesh and blood, from this American Marxist movement called critical race theory. What do the media say? Oh, these are racist white women in the suburbs now. Everybody's racist, of course, but the racists, the people who push critical racist theory. They're the racists. The people in the media, especially MSNBC and CNN, racist professors, racist activists, racist hosts, day in and day out. And what do? Righteous people who believe in diversity, who have no problem with people of other faiths and backgrounds and pigmentation and so forth. You are the ones who they demonize and attack. And one other thing about what took place last week. The relentless attacks on Donald Trump, they completely backfired. Terry McAuliffe, the former bagman for the Clintons, Terry McAuliffe could not say Donald Trump's name enough. And for most of the campaign, almost right up to the end, he was running against Donald Trump. Nice try, Terry. Guess what? You lost, and Donald Trump won. Donald Trump won. Your attempt to turn this into a Trump race, you lost. Now, Glenn Youngkin and the team over there ran a fantastic campaign, as they did in New Jersey, as they did all over the country. We must embrace this country, our founding, our patriotism, push back against what's taking place, and that's exactly what is happening. I want to remind you, albeit briefly, of what I said in the first chapter of American Marxism, which has now sold almost 1.2 million copies during this summer, during the lead up to this victory, where millions of you have read it, have passed along the message, have been the Paul Reveres throughout this country, under the radar, unrecognized by the establishment politicians in Washington. But you know who you are, I know who you are. First chapter, American Marxism. American Marxism has made great progress toward instituting its goals over the last several years. If it is to be defeated, as it must, albeit a daunting and complex mission, its existence must first be acknowledged and labeled for what it is. The urgency of the moment must be realized, and the emergence of a unified, patriotic front of previously docile, divergent, and/or disputatious societal, cultural, and political factions and forces, which have in common their belief that America is worth defending, must immediately galvanize around and rally to the cause. We must rise to the challenge, as did our founding fathers, when they confronted the most powerful force on earth. That's right, the British Empire, and defeated it. Admittedly, in numerous ways, today's threat is more Byzantine, as it now inhabits most of our institutions and menaces from within, making engagement difficult and complicated. Nonetheless, I fervently believe America as we know it will be forever lost if we do not prevail. Well, guess what? Red-blooded Americans of all colors and all backgrounds who love this country, whether born citizens or naturalized citizens or soon-to-be naturalized citizens, have had enough. And we are standing up to this. Not because Washington says so, not because certain media are reporting on it, but because you are taking matters into your own hands. And you will continue to be trashed by the corrupt media in this country. You will continue to be trashed by the corrupt Democrat Party in this country, as well as other establishmentarians. But keep up the fight. We've got a long way to go, a long way to go, not just in our schools, but in our corporations, in our colleges and universities, defending the police, defending the military, securing the border, getting our Constitution back, fighting off the effort to destroy separation of powers and the independence of the courts. This is our mission. These are the forces that we are up against. And I could not be more proud of you, the American people, who are saying, this is my country, regardless of your background and your race, and I'm going to defend it. And look at who won in Virginia. A white governor, a black lieutenant governor, and a brown attorney general. And guess what? The media in this country are calling them racists. Racists. Well, let me tell you something. The media in this country are racists, they're bigots, they're anti-Semites, they are liars, and they are corrupt. There's almost no difference between the media in this country and the hardcore Stalinists on the left of the Democrat Party, the AOCs, the Presleys, the Tlaibs, and the Omars. They're one and the same. They have no disagreement on issues or tactics or anything of the kind. We demonstrated last week, and we will demonstrate going forward. We don't need them. We can go around them, above them, and under them. But we don't need them.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.